What's going on, everybody? Welcome into this edition of Warchant TV. I'm Aslan Hajivandi, alongside managing editor of Warchant.com, Ira Schoffel. We're here in the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center. Florida State was the 83-67 victor over Troy, the 11th-ranked Noles, doing fairly well, but we're not here to talk about basketball. We're here to talk about the football program. News broke on Monday that Walt Bell is expected to accept the head coaching job at UMass, the Minutemen. This leaves Florida State and Willie Taggart now with a large hole to fill on their coaching staff right as the early signing period approaches. I guess, what was your first initial thought when you heard that Bell was going to be leaving for a head coaching job?
Yeah, I think maybe that was the one surprise. I mean, I think we had heard in recent days that there was talk that Walt Bell was looking or considering some offensive coordinator positions. And I don't know if it was necessarily entirely a situation where he was just completely unhappy here. I'm not saying it was out of the question. He could have stayed at Florida State, but it looked more and more likely that he was going to look to leave. I did not know he was up for a head coaching job, and this is a good spot for him. I mean, I think some people are going to roll their eyes and say, well, Florida State lost their offensive coordinator to UMass. Look, it's a head coaching job. He's a young guy. The best thing for Walt Bell, and this is the kind of the sentiment from talking to people at Florida State, people around the athletic department, is this is a good opportunity for him. Walt Bell was well liked. People like him. They think he's got a good future. They think he's a guy that might end up being a very successful head coach. This is an opportunity for him to kind of get out on his own and start his own program. And there was some risk to staying at Florida State. I mean, I think that's the other issue. If he had stayed at Florida State and this offense struggled again next year, which it might, a lot of questions on the offensive line, a lot of questions at quarterback, at some point his star was going to fade a little bit. So I think that probably played into it as well.
You spoke to President John Thrasher last week. I think he sounded pretty confident that there were going to be changes made to the coaching staff. Was there anything that he cited that gave him that sort of hunch, I guess?
Well, and he made that comment about the chemistry, and that, when I walked out of that interview, I thought to myself, I wonder if he's talking about Walt Bell, because we had heard things during the season that Willie Taggart and Walt Bell, they worked together fine. I don't think there was any major problems, but I do think that there were probably. You look at the results on the field, there's bound to be frustrations. We just heard different things, and then I think there was questions late in the season. We asked Willie Taggart about play calling. Did you take it back? Because it's one point late in the season it looked like he was calling plays again. He denied it, said it was still Walt Bell, and that may be true, but it just seemed like he was giving more input than maybe before, so I think that might have played into it. Willie Taggart, if you look at his track record since he's been a head coach, he's had some conflict with offensive coordinators. It hasn't been a smooth. It's not like he's taken somebody from Western Kentucky to USF to Oregon to Florida State. It's been different guys, and there's been different roles. Some of them got to call plays, some didn't get to call plays. So that's not totally surprising. I think the big question right now is what is Willie going to do? Is he going to really turn the offense over to somebody? There's some big names out there. There's some other potential candidates that they're going to be looking at. Is he going to look to just bring somebody in to run his offense, or is he going to hand the keys over? And I think that's going to determine what kind of candidate he can bring in.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, that's what it feels like. Maybe, conjecture, I guess, at this point, but I'm sure some of the friction, the philosophical difference has to be on the fact that you're the offensive coordinator, you're not calling the play. So it would be interesting to see if Willie's going to continue that route, or maybe, if a guy like Hugh Freeze, I wouldn't imagine that's one of the guys that Gene's reported. Gene Williams, the founder and administrator of Warchant.com, was able to actually confirm that Hugh Freeze was on campus here at Florida State, or at least in Tallahassee, excuse me. Hugh Freeze is a guy that's got head coaching pedigree. You would assume that he's not going to take a job if he's not going to be able to call plays.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's really going to limit what you can do, whether it's Hugh Freeze or somebody else. I mean, Walt Bell was kind of an attractive candidate because he had an impressive resume for a young coach, and he would accept this position because he got to go to Florida State, coach these kinds of athletes. Even if he didn't get to call plays, he was willing to make that jump to go to a school like Florida State. An established offensive coordinator is probably not going to come to Florida State to not call the plays. Now, Jimbo Fisher was able to get Randy Sanders in to not call plays, but that became an issue there. Randy Sanders wanted to call plays, and there was a little brief moment in time where Randy Sanders did get to call plays, and then Jimbo took it back again. Excuse me. This is always an issue with these offensive coordinator head coaches who want to call plays, and I think that's going to be up to Willie. And look, if I'm Willie, and he's not calling me asking for advice, but if he was, I think I'd be very willing to turn this offense over. If you could get a proven offensive coordinator, this program needs Willie Taggart to recruit. This program needs Willie Taggart to manage, to make some changes on his staff and really manage the entire program. I just think the timing seems very right to me for Willie Taggart to hand it over to somebody else. But that's going to be a tough call because he's never done that before as a head coach.
All right, we'll do a deep dive, Ira, myself, and Corey Clark on Wake Up Warchant with some thoughts again on Walt Bell leaving. I mean, ultimately, how can Willie, I guess, spin? I don't want to say spin this, but what is, I guess, maybe the silver lining, or how does this not look bad that you just hired a guy and in 1 year he's already gone?
Look, some fans are going to, anything that happens right now with Florida State football, some fans and some media are going to feel like it's bad. Anything that happens is bad because of the way the season went. But talking to people, I've talked to a couple of former coaches, talked to some administrators, they feel like this has nothing to do with Willie Taggart in terms of looking bad. Walt Bell gets to be a Division I head coach. I mean, UMass is not Florida State, but he gets to be a head coach at a young age, gets to run his own program. I don't think anybody that is in the business looks at this as, oh, this is a terrible move and a bad sign for Willie Taggart. I think that's more for the people on the outside who look at it, anything that happens right now, where people are looking for the negative. So I don't think Willie Taggart has to spin anything, especially if Walt Bell goes and has a nice run at UMass, which he could do. I mean, by all accounts, he must be an amazing interviewer, because that's one thing I would say at the end of this past season. I thought nobody on this offensive staff is going anywhere. Really, anybody on this staff, because of what they produced on the field. For him to go and get a head coaching job after what just happened at Florida State shows you what people think about Walt Bell.
Yeah, we said, a lot of people said, enjoy Walt Bell while it lasts.
Yeah.
He won't be here long. I don't think anybody thought it would be this quickly, though. Stay connected to warchant.com. Ira, Gene, and Corey will have the latest on what's now going to be vacancy that needs to be filled on the coaching staff with Walt Bell departing again for UMass. Reporting alongside Ira Schoffel here at the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center, I'm Aslan Hajivandi. Thanks for watching this edition of Warchant TV.